Assalamu alaikum. Good morning, everyone. So, just in the way of introduction, my name is Hana Habayeb. I manage the developer experience division for Microsoft in the region. I look after startups, students, developers, and independent software vendors. It's not my first time in Pakistan. I've been coming to Pakistan for a few years, but I'm really happy to be here again today. I'm always happy to be in Pakistan. So thank you for welcoming me here. When I was asked to speak today about the customer experience in the digital age, I have to admit I was excited. I mean, it sounds like a traditional topic you would hear at a startup conference, but it's something that's very important to me. And I'll explain in a little bit why. It's because it really means something different. It's really something different when it comes to our region. When you say customer experience, what I typically think about in the digital age is this lady on her phone. Has anyone seen the YouTube video of the lady on her iPhone walking in the mall, walking, and then she walks into the fountain? She tumbles in the fountain. Who's seen that YouTube video? Yeah. It's hilarious, but it's also what people usually use to talk about customer experience in the digital age. It means, people are attached to their phones, everything is done on their phones, and when people start to talk about customer experience in the digital age, they talk about things like, 40% of our customers compare their prices online. Okay. They all contact their friends and family through an app. Oh my God, that's revolutionary. Or they scan barcodes. I mean, yes, they do. And that is very exciting. It is really exciting that people can do that. But what I want to say, and what's important to me about this in the digital age is what does this mean actually for us in Pakistan? And I apologize if I sound like your grandmother, but when I was a young girl, and I used to come to Pakistan, I remember I would meet these developers and independent software vendors, and I would hear these amazing stories. Oh, we have 500 developers in Pakistan, and we make the leasing software that powers all financial service leasing companies in the world. Wow. We have 300 developers, and our software from Pakistan runs 75% of hotels in Las Vegas. I have 1,000 people in my call center, and we run the biggest customer service center for the auto industry. That's great. And then my next question would be, so how big is your sales team in Pakistan? And people would look at me like I had just asked them if I have a parachute in my car seat. Like, what kind of stupid question is that? Why would I have a sales team in Pakistan? That was the reaction of a lot of these companies a while ago. Today, it's a very different world. The digital transformation has completely changed our experience. Today, you come to Pakistan, and if you want to buy something online, you go to Daraz, and you have the option of paying cash on delivery. Because 95% of people do not have credit cards in this country. So companies need to adapt for the customer in this digital age. I have a 10-month-old child. When I use Kareem, I can ask for a car seat for my child. And that's amazing. Now try getting that with Uber in San Francisco. No, but it's just not relevant for people in San Francisco. People actually carry their car seats around. I don't know how they do that, but they do. But I would never do that. But I can still get it in Dubai. Or if I want to have a rickshaw or a tuk-tuk, pick me up. Traveling lets me do that. I mean, that's, to me, is customer experience in the digital age. Digitization has made the customer experience more democratic. It has made our customers empowered. I work with a company called Xgear, and it's a team of really brilliant scientists and developers. And they base their research on something done at the University of Pennsylvania that looks at how engine oil changes with people driving habits. And they realized that the study is completely irrelevant for Pakistan, because cars in Pakistan tend to be a bit older. And so they've actually redefined this formula based on a lot of analysis of cars, of machine learning analysis on their patterns, and it's completely changed the way they look at traffic management here. So no, it's not about how many people scan QR codes. That's not what it means. Today, if you come to Pakistan, and when I come to Pakistan and I ask, do you have a sales team in Pakistan? It's like, what kind of a stupid question is that? There are 200 million people in this country. It's the 6th largest economy in the world. Why do we not have a sales team in Pakistan? It's a very, very different discussion. And that's why I think this is an important topic. I think customer experience in the digital age is a topic. Sorry. I need to work on the mics, though, still. Customer experience in the digital age is more about democratizing the customer experience and less about digitizing the customer experience. And that's why, for me, and at Microsoft, it's something that's important. So today, instead of looking at QR codes, I mean, things that are important to the customer are, I'm going to this coffee shop. Does it have Wi-Fi? Wi-Fi is almost as important as coffee, sometimes more important than the coffee. I'm not going to use a credit card. Are you going to let me pay cash? That's an important question for the customer. Do you have a mobile app? Because I don't have a computer. And so these are all questions that are important and all stem from the one question that's for everyone, which is, what's in it for me? What's in it for me? I don't want to compromise my experience. In fact, I want a better experience than someone who would have it in the US or in Europe. So, as Microsoft, and for me, as Hana, the question is not so much, what does this mean? But what is our responsibility? For many of the companies here, many of the companies represented here, what is our responsibility, not just to the startup ecosystem, but to the consumer, to the customer, that's going to benefit from this digitization, that's going to benefit from the strength of a better startup ecosystem. And there are 3 pillars to this, at least I think there are 3 pillars to this. I'm sure there are others that we can discuss. But the first is a technology platform. So how can you here today use a strong technology platform to be able to have that digital experience? Number 2 is startup support. The 2 gentlemen earlier spoke a lot about how we can support the startup ecosystem. Asif, urged us all to figure out how we can support the growth of this ecosystem, so that's something I'd like to touch on. And finally, the importance of local partnerships and the importance of leveraging those partnerships. I'm sure you've all heard of Microsoft Azure and a lot of the other Microsoft technologies. Personally, Azure is the first, I've been at Microsoft a long time, but Microsoft Azure is the first product we put out that's more important to me than Excel, which is saying a lot because Excel is by far, or was by far, one of my favorite products. So how do we at Microsoft feel that you can use Microsoft Azure or some of the other cloud services out there to empower the customer? Number 1, innovating on the application layer. Number 2, using data and intelligence to serve the customer. Number 3, being open, being flexible, allowing the developer to develop on the customer's terms and on their own terms. And finally, trust. And I'll start with, how do you do apps faster? If you don't innovate faster. Not just faster than the market, but faster than the consumer anticipates. Then there's no point for you to be there. There's nothing you're adding to the customer experience. So it's important for you to be able to build on platform as a service or to build on infrastructure as a service, but also to be able to leverage stuff that's already out there. And that's the whole concept of standing on the shoulders of giants. It's not just about the business, but it's also about the technology platform. It's important that you develop apps seamlessly. You have to deliver native apps. Yes, I'm sorry, Microsoft phones are not on the slide, but go where your customer goes. Yes, I am from Microsoft, but I think that having an open platform is extremely important for the customer experience. And that, at the end of the day, is what we want to do. Make the pie bigger so that the entire economy can benefit. Hello. There we go. To be able to provide the services that your customer really needs or really can benefit from, data is critical. I cannot overstate the importance of analyzing customer behavior, customer trends, using not just big data, but machine learning in order to figure out what the customer wants before they want it, in order to be able to predict where they're going before they get there, in order to be able to put your fleet where they need to be before the customer even knows that they're going to be there. And to respond proactively. I'm sorry about this. And finally, from a prediction and data perspective, how do you interact with your customer? We started on looking at apps. We started with web. We moved to apps. But what if I want to interact via WhatsApp? Or what if I want to interact face-to-face with a customer? What are the cognitive services I can use in order to do that? And finally, we move on to the openness side and the trust side. Developers want to be able to develop on their own terms, and that's what will make things move faster for customers. So, you want to develop in PHP? Be my guest. You want to develop on a Linux VM? Be my guest. Just do what you can do, what you're comfortable doing, faster and better, so that you can grow the economy for everyone. Make sure that you're part of a cloud like Azure where you can immediately deploy globally. It's the biggest cloud infrastructure in the world, the most regions in the world. Use it. Think about beyond Pakistan. Think about the rest of the emerging world. Think of, countries like Jordan, where I'm from, that would love to have these services. There's a lot of opportunity out there if you scale. And finally, make sure you have trust. Make sure you work with standards and regulatory processes that allow your customer to trust you. If you're using healthcare data, if you're bringing doctors to your customers, how do the customers trust that you're going to protect that data? Use cloud services that allow you to do that. The next is, at least for me, what I really am passionate about. It's startup support. Today we have a lot of startups here, but I think it's important that you guys go out and leverage what other companies can provide for you. There are 3 pillars that we can support with, not just Microsoft, but I'm sure everyone here, represented from some of the partner companies. How do we help you grow? How do we help you innovate? And how do we help you get discovered? I'll start with leveraging places like innovation centers. Come to the Microsoft Innovation Center. Meet other startups, get technical training, and more importantly, learn. Learn how you can work with new technologies. Learn how you can develop for an Android. Learn how you can work with an iPhone. Come and get some business development opportunities. This is a picture of some of our startups at an event where we introduced them to all of our financial services industry customers. You're not going to get this on your own. And people need to take advantage of the opportunities out there for them. So come, meet our customers, sell your products, and grow. You know, startups need cash, and the gentleman before me mentioned the importance of having seed funding. But how important is it to have customers? Come and get your customers. Come and do joint sales with us. Come and do joint marketing with us. A lot of the companies here would be open. Just approach us, and we can help. And finally, get access to free cloud services, to free software. There are a lot of opportunities out there. In the last 3 years, Microsoft provided over $15 million of free software and cloud services across the spectrum of services to startups in Pakistan. $15 million. How much of that pie did you take? A lot of what I said today was about leveraging local partnerships, leveraging local companies, and leveraging companies that behave like local companies, Microsoft being one of them. Microsoft has been here in Pakistan for years. Years. We have today at the conference 8 people who are dedicated to the startup and developer ecosystem. They're the most good-looking guys and girls in the room. Just find them. You'll find them walking around the hall today here. You'll find them walking at the Microsoft booth. Come and talk to us. We're technology agnostic. Let us help you. But come and leverage some of the other things that we can do. We've placed over 200 interns into jobs in the last year. We've made donations of over $1.5 million in cash and software to NGOs. This is what a real partnership is about. That's why Microsoft is here. Microsoft is here because we believe that the startup ecosystem in Pakistan has huge potential, and for the long term. And driving that customer experience, making sure that customers have what they need, is in our DNA. We've completely reimagined Microsoft. So I want you to reimagine the customer experience with Microsoft. I always like to say that when it comes to democratizing the customer experience, democratizing access to technology, democratizing the cloud, the most beautiful thing about it is that a developer from anywhere can develop for everywhere. A developer from Pakistan can develop for Russia, for the US, for Brazil. I mean, this is an amazing thing. I mean, when was this ever possible? It is today. And I think that it's really important that we recognize this and reimagine how we can democratize the customer experience in this digital age. Our mission at Microsoft is to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. And this is something that our CEO, Satya, says over and over. Every person and every organization on the planet. That's a huge, huge commitment. Would it have been possible 10 years ago? I don't think so. But I think today, in the digital age, today with everything we have available at our fingertips, today it's possible. So I'd like you to come visit us, come talk to me. I'd love to learn more from all of you startups here about how we can help you reimagine the customer experience. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Hana. There's so much from your talk that we were making notes of. You've spoken about democratization of customer experience. You also spoke about the importance of data. But we have a very interesting audience query, which is, which is that sometimes you have naughty customers also. Now,
We have?
naughty customers. Naughty means, this previous saying, the old saying is that the customer is always right. But with this e-commerce and the new startups coming up, sometimes the customer democracy becomes a little overpowering. And that's what the startups fail to sort of adjust to. So the question from the audience is, how do they deal with that imbalance?
How do you deal with naughty customers? It's an interesting question, right? I mean, you get a lot of, Microsoft has thousands of products, and we get a lot of customers that really push the limits of what they want out of our products. And I think that's very humbling. I think that's actually the nicest kind of customer, because it pushes you to think about what next, what else. Yes, maybe it's a little bit annoying for the sales or marketing person at getting that question or request, but really it's humbling. It's an opportunity for us to look inwards and think about, could I have done that better? And maybe the answer is no, but maybe the answer is yes. And imagine what that means for the customer in the long term.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here with us and offering all your insights.